Good day. My name is Buxoro and I work at Bukhara State University, Foreign Languages Faculty, English Literature Department. Today I'm going to teach vocabulary on subject integrated course of teaching English. So till the end of the lesson, you will know what's the vocabulary, how to teach vocabulary, and assessing vocabulary, and so on, and some techniques, strategies, and ways of teaching vocabulary. So first of all, let's define what is a vocabulary. According to the dictionary definition, a vocabulary is a set of familiar words within a person's language. A vocabulary usually developed with age serves as a useful and fundamental tool for communication and acquiring knowledge. Acquiring an extensive vocabulary is one of the largest challenges in learning a second language. So, what is passive vocabulary and what is active vocabulary? So average native speakers of English have 6,000 to 7,000 words in their active vocabulary and about 25,000 in their passive vocabulary. However, the current estimate of the English vocabulary resource is over 1 million words. So passive vocabulary is a number of words students can recognize, understand, and remember. And active vocabulary is the number of words students can confidently use in speaking and writing. So while teaching, we cannot say you have to learn 2,000 words. So here are 10, only 1,990 to go. And the question is how to teach vocabulary. As we know, vocabulary instruction is important at all levels. How people learn words or phrases. Think about yourselves. How did you learn a certain word or phrase? From a friend, from a book, or a TV program? And why have you remembered this word? There are many ways to learn words and phrases, and there are many factors affecting this process. Personal feelings at the time, need to communicate, availability of a resource context, language intuition, and so on. One of the most important factors for learning words is context. Words convey a certain meaning in a context, not in isolation, and that this has important implications for teaching vocabulary, because context will be helpful to guess the meaning of unknown words. And there are different ways of teaching vocabulary. So you shouldn't teach only the word, but how to use this word. So vocabulary instruction doesn't have to be boring. Here are some engaging ways to teach your students vocab while making sure they boost their vocabulary acquisition. So we have three main stages in presenting a new word: steps of presenting, components of a word, and techniques. So first stage, steps of presenting. So first of all, you have to pronounce the word 2 or 3 times while the pupils listen. Then show the meaning of a word by using suitable technique. So about techniques we will speak later. Have the students repeat the words after you. Can be in chorus, in groups, and individually. Write the word on the board and have your pupils read and copy it. Then ask questions for comprehension and encourage pupils to use the words themselves. Next stage is components of a word. So form, meaning, and use. The teacher says the word and spell it, and the pupils repeat. For example, B-U-S, bus. And then you have to work with the meaning of the word. The teacher chooses a technique for present the meaning of the new word. For example, flashcards or pictures or photographs when helping students picture new words, and online pictures maybe, or picture dictionaries, and so on. Then using. The teacher asks the pupils to put the word in a sentence. For example, this is a bus. Now, vocabulary teaching techniques. So as you are going to teach different level students, learners, first of all, we will start with teaching young learners. So teaching young learners is not an easy job. It's very difficult. In order to teach young learners, you should follow the rules. So make your lesson very interesting, keep it relevant. It means that you have to choose not so difficult words in the starter level, and set achievable goals. So you should choose not so many amount of words for each lesson, and give home tasks, not so many words to learn, to remember. So teach words in context, of course. Picture it. Use pictures of vocabulary words to introduce them to your students. So you may choose to use flashcards, magazine images, online pictures, picture dictionaries, or photographs when helping your students picture new words. Like this. Keep it real. Using real objects, or it's called realia, to introduce new vocabulary will aid your students in remembering the new words. It will also give your kinesthetic learners a chance to make a physical connection with a lexical concept. Tell it like it is. Before introducing a new vocabulary word, describe the scene in which it would be used. You can use synonyms, antonyms, and so, for example, I ate too much. I overate. This will help to build connections between English words and teach synonyms without even trying. Using videos. So try to use authentic English videos that helps your students to pronounce the word or words as native speakers. So you can download this kind of videos from internet. Sing it loud. Make up original songs to introduce new vocabulary. It will be very interesting for your learners. And here are some links where you can find songs. So using songs, especially very important for young learners, for the first grade pupils, when they cannot write or read. They can learn words from songs. Introduce couples. Try teaching pairs of words at one time. Antonyms are the perfect material for this type of vocabulary instruction. You can also pair synonyms, homonyms, or any other sets of words that have some connection. For example, so melancholy, here you can see synonyms and antonyms of this word, and at one time you can teach many words. Get physical. So use total physical response, or it's called TPR activity. This technique that links physical movement to English words. Create a word map. Word maps are graphic organizers, help students learn new words by associating it with its antonyms, synonyms, writing their own definition, or using the word in their own sentence. Word map activities allow students to think about vocabulary in several ways and further make connections with each words. So here is example for word mapping. So in the center, the word itself, and connected words around it. Root analysis. Instead of teaching the definition of a word, teach root words. Teach your students the meanings of specific root words and have them guess what the definition is. Students can take these root words and use them to decipher words they don't know in the future. For example, the word biology, biography, the root bio means life. Personalized lists. When students speak out their own vocab words, not only will they be more motivated to learn them, but it allows the vocabulary lists to be personalized to each student too. So it means keeping a learning log or blogs, keeping a diary or blogs, and creative writing by using newly learned words or phrases. Looking for recently learned words in storybooks, the internet, the newspapers, and etc., and noticing how they are used. Using context clues. Teaching vocabulary through context clues encourages critical thinking skills and helps them make connections to the word, ultimately helping them remember its meaning. So what kind of context you can use? You can use dialects, role play, drama, stories, songs, rhymes, and poems, and videos. And here you can teach them vocabulary. So teaching international words. International words are words that are more or less the same in all languages. For example, the word hotel. Because English is used so often in many fields such as sports, pop music, technology, transportation, communications, big brands. There are already lots of English words that have seamlessly slipped into other languages. So why to teach international words? You can teach international words from your first lesson, and you can ask your pupils, how many English words do you know, or do you speak English? And so you can write some answers on the board, especially when they say 3 words, 2 words, or nothing. And they say that they know, and you can say that they know many English words, maybe 100, maybe 1000. So and you have to teach so this kind of international words like airport, bank, bar, blog, Coca-Cola, which they have already known, coffee, computer, email, guitar, hospital, and so on. So why to teach these international words? So teaching international words, first of all, it's motivating. It's a good icebreaker. It gives the class an achievable task to do, and students have a high chance of success. And teaching international words encourages student talk and interaction because we are going to get them comparing ideas in pairs, and it's fun. So loan words. Loan words are words borrowed from one language and used in another. Café and ballet from French, kindergarten from German, alchemy from Arabic, and so on. You also have to teach this kind of words. So now there are some techniques for revising vocabulary and maybe for assessing vocabulary. So whole words. Every lesson, while explaining a new word, you have to write them on a paper and stick on the wall, and every month or every week you have to revise them with your students. So next activity is snowballs. So you can ask your students to take a sheet of paper and write 1, 2, or 3 words in it, or maybe definition of the word, and so ask them to make snowballs from this paper, and so you can ask to throw these snowballs in the space of the classroom, and you can ask your students to stand up so to make circle and take 1 snowball for each. And so read the word and give definition, or if it's written definition, so they should guess the word. Using jokes. Using jokes also very helpful, and it will be funny for students, especially they create jokes themselves using newly learned words. Have students make their own quizzes. While making their own quizzes, they have to revise words as well. So words beginning with A. This activity is very helpful. While revising vocabulary, you can ask your pupils to write, to find nouns, verbs, or names of fruit, names of animals, words that beginning with A or any other letters, with B, with C. So Lego bricks, you can use Lego bricks in order to write synonyms of the word or antonyms of the word, or just paper stickers. Language classroom vocab challenge. So choose a topic, get students to write down vocabulary in a list from A to Z on that topic. So challenge, you can ask your students, so who can do it the quickest, or who has the longest word. By this you will motivate them to revise their vocabulary. So what word am I thinking of? So procedure is, in groups of 4, choose a narrow topic, kitchen, food, or health, and one student thinks of a word and secretly writes it on a slip of paper. Other students must guess, and a point for each correct answer. It's also a very interesting vocabulary game. So using memorizing games and activities. So here are a list of some activities: giving directions, picture dictation. You can use labeling words, searching words, sequencing words, guessing words, eliminating words, classifying words, and matching words. Appeal to social media. So you can ask your pupils or students create Facebook pages for their words. They could pretend their word is starting on its own blog and write an appropriate title for the blog. If the word could tweet, what would its message be? Students can use all of the social media forms and more to think about their words from creative, unique angles, or just you can give the word and they will write the definition of a word or idiom. In the end, they will post in a forum. Who wants to be a millionaire? This is another vocabulary game. So this game is features a series of questions in ascending levels of difficulty, so from easy to most difficult one, with 4 possible answers from which contestants may choose. In other words, it's a multiple choice test, or so I used with my pupils dollar game, it's called. So you will start with $10. If they choose $10, it's easier question, and if they choose $100, it's the most difficult questions that they have to answer and earn. So how to assess a vocabulary? So using in context, you can assess vocabulary of your students by asking the definition of the word, by giving a closed book test in in which learners must provide the definitions, observational data. What can you determine about the person's vocabulary from having a conversation with them, and vocabulary games. So games that we looked through, you can use them to assess the vocabulary of your students. Word journals, journals where students keep track of the words they have learned and definition. So I want to talk about closed book test or multiple choice test, but I'm not sure that it is genuine way of assessing vocabulary. It's a little bit artificial way. So conclusion. Vocabulary should be taught in context, not as isolated words. So vocabulary should be taught through English, avoiding word-for-word translation into mother language. The learners should be encouraged to work out the meaning of the unknown words themselves. And learners should be encouraged to analyze words and word combinations in a text. So, thank you for your attention. Goodbye.